where authenticity lives and thrives to create a space of growth, healing, and joy. I am your host, Andrea Lawful Sanders, and each day we will cover the topics that are informative and engaging while learning from each other. Good morning to each and every one of you. It is Wednesday, uh, April 2nd, 2025. It feels like Wednesday, April 2nd, 2092, with all the stuff that's been going on around us. But I would love to, I'm sorry, I would love to let you all know that the Supreme Court race in Wisconsin was won handily um, by Judge Susan, and the folks there are just quite unhappy. Like uh, it became it didn't end up in Republican hands, and Elon Musk was there, on the news saying that this will be a disaster if she wins, because then there'll be all sorts of impeachments going on, and it would take Wisconsin out of Republican hands. And I don't think anyone has told him that there's just certain things you don't say in the news. He speaks his mind freely. Good morning, Marguerite. Good morning, Tiffany. Good morning, Melissa. Bobby, how you doing, honey? For the boy, I see you too. Unless you're over here on YouTube with us. I'm keeping Instagram open because there's some folks who are, pop in Angela, good morning. Good morning, Beatrice. Good morning. Not so today is Marvel's People Day. Today you get to talk to me about all the things that matter to you. I'm going to cover the news. I am dressed to the nines because I have a funeral this morning that I need to go to, and I'll be out of commission all day. So I don't want you all looking for me. Try not to send me a text if it's not super duper important, because I need to focus on this. This man is family, and we just want to make sure he has everything he needs as he buries his wife today. Um, and so that's what we'll be doing this morning. Good morning, Monica, Butterfly. Good morning, everyone. Not sure who Butterfly is. Y'all are right, showing up in anonymity, and that's cool. Not having an issue with it. So I'm finding that people are in a space of, I don't know what I'm going to do. Yesterday, my oldest son, for the first time, was like, "Mom, something's coming. You think?" And I don't have enough food to carry the family. So unbeknownst to him, and so I had to tell him, I said, listen, while I was planning for my house, I was planning for your house, your brother's house, your sister's house. So we're over here because it was very difficult to let our children know exactly what was going on. They were just too, some had lost jobs, some had, trying to figure out what they wanted to do, and are just navigating the best way they know how. So we just began planning for them. Let me see, the comments already started. Alexandra says Elon doesn't know how much he is despised. And Melissa, Senator Cory Booker's filibuster. Now, somebody tell me, because he held up the Senate for 24 hours. Great. Beautiful thing. What was the result that came from it? That's the part that I'm looking for. I've always said to all of you, if we're going to do any kind of action, what is the direct result that he got from it, other than holding up the Senate for 24 hours and breaking the record that Strom Thurmond did way back when he didn't want the civil rights to be a thing, right? Even though he had a black daughter for years and years and years and never told anybody. What was the end result of all of it? And again, it was remarkable that he stood there for over 24 hours speaking about what was going on in the country and what was wrong. My question then is, after he did all of that, how did it impact the American people in a positive way? I am noticing that the elections that are happening now, so people are thinking you only have to wait until May, wherever, because in each state there is a different date for the primary. So it's May in Pennsylvania and some other places. I think people think that they have to wait, but even in Pennsylvania, at the House, there was a special election that the Democrats won, by a thin margin. But again, so Speaker Joanna McClinton holds on to her seat. Those things make a difference. And there was an election in Wisconsin. Hold on one second, because I want to make sure. And I see you all talking. Mary Alyssa May, good morning, darling. Charmaine, good morning. Good morning, Jasenia. Good morning to Good morning, Mother. Good morning, world. Today's World Autism Day, Marguerite. If it is, then listen, acceptance is the key. I absolutely agree with you. Tiffany says, I picked up 2 brown bags of rice and canned chicken yesterday. Go on, honey. Alexandra said, so what he did in those 24 hours was everything he outlined that the GOP is doing is recorded for history. Now, see, that makes sense. Thank you, my darling. I was running again. You all give me what I need to hear, and there were those actually listening that needed to hear. Is it going to make a difference for them, though? That's the part that I keep asking, because they're doing whatever they want to do. I can feel on some level that they're beginning to get a little frightened by the fact that people are standing up and speaking out. And so I don't know how that's going to manifest itself over the long term, right? So and then the Democratic committee's leaders Schumer and Jeffries filed a lawsuit to block Trump's illegal voter suppression executive order. So there's all the things that are going on. So yes, today is World Autism Day. All right, we don't say people who are autistic are on the spectrum anymore. We say they're on the wheel, and I find that autistic folks who are on the wheel, Asperger's all the way down, are special people. They're actually smarter than most. They don't have the BS meter that everybody else walks around and they tell it like it is. This is what I see. This is what I'm going to say. Right. And so we just have to figure out how to navigate through that. Charmin says, I can't find the freeway interview. Girl, no, in these Wakandan streets. Hold on one second. I think I can do this. Hold on. I'm going to find it for you, because there are lots of people talking about this interview. Hunty, copy link. All right, here we go. I'm going to put it over here for you, Charmaine, because I love you, girl, because I love you. What did I do? Now I had to find it. Except for Elon Musk, what, darling? Oh, everybody was happy except for Elon Musk. It is what it is at this point. So I'm going to hold on, sweetie pie. Let me hold on. Wait a minute. Copy link. That is. Hold on one second, y'all. Hold on. I'm going to find it. I will find it for you, because Lord have mercy, Charmaine has me going down a rabbit hole right now. Judge Susan Crawford was the one that liked, let's see. I'm going to find it for you, because there were so many people talking about this. Hold on, y'all. Just give me a second. I'm going to find it. I don't know. Hold on. Inbox. So many people talking about this. Filtering kindness through our kidneys. Hold on. All right, let me see if I can copy the link. You see what you got me doing, Charmaine? I'm doing all of this for you so you can find it. Hold on. Paste. There you go. There you go. There it is. It's up there for you now. So you can click on it and find the link to the season finale. Gotten a lot of responses to that season finale. Thank you, Marguerite. Got a lot of responses. Jazenia says, I was in tears listening to your interview with Freeway. It was such a good interview for so many people. The doctor that was on with Antoine Johnson, when he said he needed to have a kidney, we're working now to get her on this show so we can talk to her about what because April is also Give a Life Month, which is becoming an organ donor. And we're trying to get her to come on to talk about organ donation, what it is like when you need a kidney, because apparently so many people, there are people you don't even know right now that you're talking to every single day that is waiting for a kidney, that's going to dialysis 3 and 4 times a week, mostly 3 times a week. There are people who are doing dialysis at home. We know high-level folks like Freeway, who is talking about it and has been talking about it since he got his transplant in 2019. But there are plenty of people you know too, people you know too, who are looking for, who is in desperate need of a kidney. And so the goal was to get each of us to, sign up to be organ donors. You don't even have to put it on your license anymore. So go listen to the podcast episode with Freeway, and he'll tell you how you don't have to put it on your license anymore, because, people are afraid that if they put it on their license and if they are in an accident somewhere, they'll let them die so they can harvest their kidneys or harvest their organs. No such a thing. It's not true. It is absolutely not true. So, so thank you for listening, Jasenia. Just share for mother. Um, Tiffany says, Violet, yes, the interview is also on my YouTube page as well. Tiffany says, I spent over $100 yesterday. I'm in shock about how little she says, I'm stocking up a little at a time. I don't have storage space. Well, I had storage space, and so my car is now filled to take to my son's house so that he can have what he needs at least for the next 4 to 6 months. And then I went to the store yesterday. Jeff Brown should be very happy with me at this point, and got all the other things, because we're stocking up on canned goods, and, milk powder. We have babies. And so milk powder and powdered yogurt and all those other things that, they might not be able to get should the rubber meet the road. But I want to share some stuff with you because it is Wednesday, y'all. And while I am heading to this funeral, I just wanted to know. Charmaine says, "Ooh, I'm so special, y'all." You are special, Charmaine. I stopped my whole show so you could get this link. Viola says, my 19-year-old cousin is coming to stay with me for the summer break from college. He is autistic. He doesn't want to stay in Philly. I'm his mom, Mom V. Uh, yes, Nakia says, I'm doing the donor. Yes, Nakia, yes. Also have another friend whose husband just began dialysis, and she is testing to see if she's a match for him. After all of that, she's testing to make sure she's a match for him. And it's not always easy, but she's there. So love on people, because you don't know what they're going through. Monica said, "Girl, that interview, I am not finished listening. It is so powerful, however triggering for me. I cried so much and hard. I had to take a break. I will finish it today. It's riveting." Monica, do you mind sharing with me why it's so triggering for you, darling? It triggered me because my mother died from kidney failure. And by the time we realized what was going on with her, I mean, we jumped all over the doctor. We were like, why didn't you tell us? He was like, she's your mother. She didn't want to talk to you about it. And so by the time we realized what was going on, her heart was exploding. This was going on. She had 3 strokes, all sorts. I mean, that time, stop talking about it, Andrea, it was a lot. And so diabetes will take a toll on your body in a way that you cannot even begin to imagine. And I am truly transparent with all of you. Over 100 million people are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. And in this country alone, in Hawaii, they're having a hard time with it. In Puerto Rico, they're having a hard time with it, where, they're eating all the white rice, and in their diets. And so we have to figure out how to support each other and help folks. If you go to your nutrition, the nutrition will say to you, uh, the nutritionist will say to you, you don't have to stop eating what you love. Eat it, much less of it, much less of it. If it spikes your blood sugar, don't eat it at all. Right? But eat much less of it, and take your time, monitor your blood sugar. Stick your finger. Make sure I stopped monitoring my blood sugar because I could tell what I couldn't eat and what I could eat. And if I ate something that I could eat and it made me start to feel weird some kind of way, I stopped eating that. You have to learn how to cut stuff off. It is important that we understand diabetes, like hypertension. And they say if you're hypertensive, more than likely you're going to become diabetic. So I was hypertensive since I was 21 years old. 21. And they did all sorts of tests and realized that it was just a family genetic thing. So then you also need to know what your family genetics are. You can't just walk around, la-di-da-di, trying to, just know what you do, know what you know so that you can help yourself. So in my family, on both sides, it's diabetes and hypertension. So it's why you see me working out all the time. Trust me, this is not about being cute. Cute is nice, but I'm trying to make sure that my body stays healthy. Um, Ooh, okay. So let me see what's happening here. I just got a thing. Alexandra says my grandmother has a massive stroke. That's how we learned of her diabetes and heart disease. Marvel, she was a licensed nurse? No way. No way. Wow. 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 Alexandra says Marvel also bone marrow donation is yes in the black community. We did that with Joanne. I spent so much time. Joanne had a bone blood cancer, and I was in churches asking people to, to be a bone marrow donor, and it was not easy. It was just not easy. But we've got to help each other. We can't just sit around and say, this is what it is. So I just got some news that came in, and I'm going to read it to all of you. Well, here we go. Kamala Harris slammed Elon Musk as she broke her silence after the Democratic-backed candidate for Wisconsin Supreme Court defeated a challenger endorsed by the Tesla CEO and President Donald Trump. Susan Crawford, a Dane County judge who led legal fights to protect union power and abortion rights and to oppose voter ID, secured a 10-year term on the court, defeating Waukesha County Judge Brad Schimmel. Celebrating her win, surrounded by the court's four current liberal judges, Crawford took a brutal dig at Musk, who spent millions of dollars back in Schimmel. Growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I would be taking on the richest man in the world for justice in Wisconsin, Crawford said, and we won. Speaking to Wisconsin Democrats after the victory, Harris echoed Crawford's sentiment, saying, there is an unelected billionaire who should not and will not have a greater voice than the working people of Wisconsin. So folks are fighting back. Folks are coming out swinging and fighting back. And so we're going to see all of this. Carlene says, hold on one second. Marguerite says, renal disease is ugly and watching someone's body deteriorate from it is arduous. I'm just recovering mentally from the trauma I experienced with my husband. Peace. Good morning, Miss Education. Marguerite, and so it's a conversation that I have with my husband all the time. He'll say, I got you some rice, or I got you, rice and peas, and I have to keep saying to him, I can't eat like that. I can't. And he's starting to understand you can't put honey or sugar in my tea. I love tea, but I drink my tea without this kind of stuff. I can't eat. I love the fruits, but I can't eat them the way average people would eat them. So if I have a piece of an orange or even a whole orange, just a small one, I drink a lot of water after that. There's just certain things I can't do. Viola says, "What a sophisticated look you have this morning." I am going to a funeral. That's why I look like this. When I'm in my t-shirt, I usually I'm going to the gym, but yeah, this morning I'm going to a funeral. Carlene says you can always incorporate your cultural foods. It's all about portions and frequency. Absolutely. So if I want some ackee and saltfish, which is a Jamaican national dish, and you have dumpling and you have banana and you have yam, I will take one finger of banana, one dumpling, and I will not eat the yam. If they have sweet potato, I'll take one finger banana, one piece of sweet potato, and I eat ackee and saltfish. And then I also, if I'm going to eat ackee and saltfish, I ask for some callaloo to be on the side because I always want to make sure that I'm incorporating the vegetable, right? Meat and vegetable. And I don't eat it all in one sitting. So Jamaicans have a tendency when they're sharing food, when they're giving you food portions, it's like for three and four times for you to eat that one portion size that they give you. And oftentimes we eat it all, right? Before I was diabetic, I was like, oh, this rice and peas is so good. I can't eat that stuff anymore. So if I go on my own, I will get, let's say I get escovitch or I get brown stew fish. I'll get two helpings of cabbage instead of getting any other, instead of getting the carbs. So I manage my carbs. If I'm going to eat carbs, I eat it in the mornings and I try to let it go in the evenings. Yeah, right? So all of these things matter, but you have to know your body. What I'm telling you is what works for me. Whatever you eat all the time, I also stay. You will not see me at all the fast food restaurants. I'm not going to any of them. I'm literally, even the the fruit stand trucks that are out there where they're doing the smoothies, they actually add sugar to that stuff. So make your own smoothies at home so you know what you're doing. It's just, it's all those things. And making sure that you are getting enough protein in your body. Morning, Jania. Let me see what else is happening here. Alexandra says Musk is trying to do what his maternal grandfather attempted to do to the government of Canada. Well, Monica says my aunt passed away yesterday. She's the last of my mommy's siblings. She looked just like my mommy. I am missing her so, and my sister has lupus and has been on dialysis for years. Wow. Just a lot going on out here. Just a lot going on out here. Thank you to my quiet producer in the background who is sending me news reports. The wins of these current elections confirms to me that the mention was in the election was in fact stolen. The wins of these current elections confirms to me that the election was in fact stolen. Right? Alexandra says Marguerite, so true. My grandfather had 15% kidney function. We controlled it with diet. He wouldn't give up Pepsi though, not until it landed him in the emergency room. Shakila says, I hope that people realize with this election in Wisconsin that we can't be bought if we choose not to be purchased. I hope all of those that sat out this last election see that their vote matters. I think they see now, Shakila. And in the meantime, when it was easier for people to vote, now you got to carry your driver's license and prove that you're a citizen of this country and all sorts of things, right? Marguerite says, someone told me that I killed my husband because I let him eat the way he wanted to as a diabetic. That hurt me to my heart. I fought him for years to eat more healthier options. I have a friend going through that right now where she kept saying to her husband, you gotta eat better. You've got to eat better. And she says, Andrea, he'll go to the market and he'll pick up 2 pies and some ice cream, even though he's getting ready to be on dialysis. She said, I can't fight him. She said, it's the heart, it's the brain. We talk about this all the time. The brain is what controls, which is why when we don't make fun of people who are over obese, there's a thing in the brain that stops people from, just following what they need to do. Some people can do it like I can, but a lot of people can't. A lot of people say, I just want what I want and I'm going to eat what I want. And it causes issues for them. But, Tamara says that, Shamika, thank you for remembering that you need to take care of you to love you, sis. I don't see Shamika, so Viola says I do eat turkey bacon sometimes. Turkey bacon, Take a look at what's in turkey bacon. When I get my smoothies, I tell them no extra sugar, please. Right, good. Um, Laverne says, I am sorry that happened, Marguerite. I have heard the what is your wife doing in different ways. I cook the things my husband should eat, but he won't try most of them. Food addiction is real. Absolutely. And it's all in the brain. It's something some chemical imbalance in the brain that makes you just addicted to certain things and you want what you want. I had another brother who ended up having his leg amputated that said, even though he knew that he was diabetic and there were certain things he couldn't do, he would hide in his car. When you would go in his car, you would see all the wrappers from all the fast food things. And it was when it got to the point where his leg needed to come off and he had couldn't feel his legs. Somebody tell me, not his legs, his the soles of his feet. There's a name for that, a word for that. I'm tired. I woke up at midnight and I have not been back to sleep. So Tamara says, Marguerite, please don't take that on. You can only encourage, you can't make. It's hard. It's hard, right? And we all have the different things that are going on. When your spouse loves you, they're gonna want to give you the best of what you want. But there's just, you have to be able to say, you can't make them do what they don't want to do. It is absolutely important that you don't take that on. I agree. And for those of you who have spouses who are battling diabetes and just don't want to do what they need to do, it's hard to be resolute. But I'm telling you, after watching my mother and how that her internal organs started to explode, she would say, "Well, that just popped. Something else just popped inside of me. Something." And we were like, "What?" And even as she was in the hospital, she kept having stroke after stroke. It is horrible. It is a horrible way to go. And so I'm just begging you all, whatever you can. And my mother did what she needed. Her blood sugars were good. She walked all the time. And she said it was this one medication that she kept taking for years and years and years and didn't understand, how to navigate with it. That caused her, she lived to 81. And again, I'm being transparent with all of you. This is not a joke. It is not a joke. So take it seriously. And with diabetes, because you can go a certain amount of time, certain amount of years, and you feel okay. And the other thing is we ignore. When your blood sugar is high, your eyes get glassy and you can't see. When your blood sugar is high, you start to feel pins and needles in the bottom of your feet. What is that thing called? I can't get it right now. I can't get it right now. Brain is not working. Philly engineer says, preach, my husband had neuropathy, and I did everything in my power. Blessedly, he has turned his health around after a health crisis. Amazing. That's what I'm talking about. So thank you. Neuropathy. Lots of people walking around with neuropathy from diabetes, and it's so she says, I am so proud of his change, but it was so hard watching him go through that. It's difficult, right? So me, I go to the doctor and they go, you have any neuropathy in your feet? Not feeling any pins, any needles, anything. So when you see me in the gym, I tell you all the time, this is not about being cute. This is about being healthy. The strength and the building of my body comes as a direct result of consistently going and doing what needs to be done. But if you can't go to the gym, go in your garden. I started cleaning out my garden yesterday. Go in your garden, start, any kind of movement and exercise. After you eat, move for 10 minutes. Walk up and down the steps, walk through the living room, go outside, walk around the block, 10 minutes. It helps your body to work through the insulin to make sure that you can get what you need so you can stay okay. It's a lot. It's a lot, y'all. Laverne says, my husband is getting better now, having a meal prep person and taking his food to work with him. He just won't incorporate the exercise. Listen, we'll take a little bit. Carlene says, don't hold that guilt. Unfortunately, people will do what they want. Alexandra says, no turkey bacon. The nitrates used to create the turkey bacon are contributors to various digestive cancers. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you, Joanne. Neuropathy. Shakila, I found that if you juice your fruits and veggies, you will realize you don't need any sugar. That juice fruit is so sweet and delicious. Use the juice from the fruit in your smoothies. All right. Oh, Laverne says her husband suffers neuropathy. Wow. He is there? She says, my husband has neuropathy. I make sure he takes magnesium and D3 to help with it. I can tell when he misses a dose. Dear God, y'all were trying to help me. Marguerite, I also believe he developed vascular dementia from his compromised body. The doctors told me his mind was okay. Ooh, y'all were trying to help mother. Look at this neuropathy, mother. Yes, I got it now. Praise the Lord. Love you all. Monica says, yes, some of us use food as an emotional crutch, regardless of the health risks. So I love Jamaican beef patties. And when I would make them, I would make two at a time. I'd bake two at a time and eat them. Now I have one as a snack, right? And just going about my business. Drink a lot of water with it and do what I'm supposed to do. Alexandra says, my grandmother was showing signs of a stroke and would snap at me when I begged her to please see a doctor. She wouldn't because she witnessed how Black people were treated by doctors. Wow. I really would like to get this kidney doctor on, and I'm working to do that next week. Also next week, I will have State Rep and Appropriations Chair Jordan Harris on with me to talk about what's going on, what happened with his wife, colorectal cancer, and what he's doing now. To make sure that people go get checked, and that you don't wait until, because I think they wait until you're 50. 50 was when I had my first colonoscopy. She died at the age of 36 and was diagnosed at either 34, 35. But he'll be on to talk about it. So again, it's about taking care of your health, watching, paying attention. Your stomach is growing and you're not sure why. You're feeling all kinds of things going on in your stomach. You're having pain. You can't expel your food, on a regular basis, Oh, Lord. Laverne says, my A1C is 6.6. I'm currently on my bike. I'm excited to get back to working out on a regular now. Good for you, my darling. I want you to bring it down to 5 point something, right? Marguerite says, my husband had neuropathy and he had retinopathy. Yes, but they had to you put the injection in your eyes. Yes, he had to get an injection in his eye every 8 weeks. Woo, Black Jesus. I've seen people doing that too. Alexandra says, being cute is a side effect. Absolutely. Laverne says, wow, on the turkey bacon. I just always saw its process. I don't like it. Yeah, turkey bacon's not good for you. Laverne, also, if you're a diabetic, make sure to include protein with your fruit. Absolutely. I still leave the fruit alone though. That's what I love mangoes. My God, on today. And if I start to eat one mango, it's not like I can eat like a half of a mango. If you put 6 mangoes in front of me, I was like, just let it go. I can't eat it. Viola says, I soak my bacon in hot water before cooking. Not sure if that works. Laverne says, cake is my bad habit. I can eat a whole cake by myself, so most times I go for the cupcake. But when I do get the whole cake, I eat a couple of pieces and trash the rest. There you go. Discipline. Very good, my sister. Lania says, 45 is the new number for colon. Checking if you're African American. What's his name died from colon cancer too? Chadwick Boseman. Quite a few people, particularly men, you know. Um, Laverne says, a therapist took me through the 12 steps to cope with my cake addiction. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, it's 7 o'clock. I want to make sure I'm keeping track of time because this funeral is not in Philly and I got to make sure that I'm out of here. That's not what I want to do in enough time. What are we doing? No, we're not doing that. Who's talking to me? All right, here we go. So here's the news that I want to cover today for you all. Let's see, shall we? The math genius, Gladys West, the math genius who helped, come on, don't do this to me. What is, you know what, Black Jesus? This is why sometimes when I look at these links, I got to make sure, but there's a way, who helped the world navigate, I think, there you go. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. All right, we're going to go back here. Let's see what's happening here. Who is tech? What is happening? All right, I'm going to have to download the smart app. 12 steps program. Okay. Tamara says your doctor will give you a script for a colonoscopy as young as 25 if you have a family history and symptoms. I did not know that. I did not know that. Alexandra says also if you have a family history, you can get it done sooner. All right. Laverne says, the thing with protein, there are times I am eating too much protein. I don't understand that much, but I always add it to my smoothies and then I make them at home. Not sure why. I've never been told I had too much protein. Dear God. You don't eat enough protein. You're lifting all these weights and you're not eating enough protein. Every time you check the phone for directions, track a package, or even monitor your morning run, you're using technology that owes its precision to Dr. Gladys West, a mathematician whose groundbreaking work laid the foundation for the Global Positioning System, otherwise known as GPS. Laid the foundation. Her contributions remain largely unrecognized for decades, but her impact on modern navigation is undeniable. From rural Virginia to mathematical excellence, she was born in 1930 in Sutherland, Virginia. Gladys May Brown grew up in a community where opportunities for Black girls were few. Her parents owned a small farm, and many of her peers spent their lives working in tobacco fields. And many of her peers spent their lives working. I'm sorry. Yes, but West had her sights set on something bigger. I don't know why I'm so discombobulated this morning. I worked so hard this morning, and I didn't get any sleep, and so I'm trying to get myself together. Excelling in school, she graduated as valedictorian of her class, earning a full scholarship to Virginia State, now Virginia State University, a historically Black institution. In 1952, she graduated with a degree in mathematics, a field where Black women were almost entirely absent at the time. After teaching in segregated schools and repeatedly losing job opportunities to less qualified white men, West pressed forward. She returned to Virginia State for a master's degree in mathematics, which she earned in 1955. The turning point in West's career came in 1956 when she was hired as a mathematician at the U.S. Naval Proving Ground in Dahlgren, Virginia. I'm sorry. She was the fourth Black employee at the base. She had to be good because they weren't hiring anybody. Uh, there she met fellow mathematician Ira West, whom she later married. At Dahlgren, West quickly became known for her ability to solve complex mathematical equations by hand. But as technology advanced, so did she. Transitioning from manual calculations to programming early computers, she worked on the Naval Ordnance Research Calculator, the NORC, a program that mapped the movement of Pluto and Neptune. Never ever think that you're not so smart. Please, when people tell you that you can't and you shouldn't and you should do it this way and do it that way, remember, Follow your God-given talent. As a project manager, her most significant work, however, came in the late 1970s and 80s when she led key projects that revolutionized satellite technology. As a project manager for CSAT, the first satellite designed to monitor Earth's oceans, she helped to develop the computer models that could predict wave heights, currents, and coastal conditions. This project led directly to GeoSat, a satellite that helped create an incredibly precise model of Earth's shape, a critical component of what would become GPS. A black woman did all of that. Stop walking around and letting people tell you what you can't be and who you can't do. She did an amazing job. Uh, Critics say Trump's attack on Black Smithsonian whitewashes U.S. history. Donald Trump's latest, this was written by Tabby Germain from BET. Donald Trump's latest executive order titled Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History is facing fierce backlash from historians, civil rights advocates, and Black political leaders who sees it as a direct attempt to sanitize the nation's racial history and undermine the institutions that reflect it. The order calls out the National Museum of African American History and Culture by name, claiming the Smithsonian is part of a concerted and widespread effort to rewrite our nation's history. It directs Vice President J.D. Vance to review all Smithsonian content to root out anything that degrades American values or divides Americans based on race or promote programs or ideologies inconsistent with federal law and policies. Hee-haw. Ah, Lord. Marguerite says, great conversation, everyone. We're helping those of us who remain and strive to be better in our bodies. Tiffany says, I don't need it to. Viola says, I've had 4 colonoscopies since 1999. I do the hydro cleanse now with Dr. Stephen Blake. I do the same thing too. Before I do my colonoscopy, I go to Dr. Stephen Blake, and he does my colonoscopy too, and he does it while I'm awake. And I do the hydro cleanse. Laverne says, I had a colonoscopy early, and every year they're trying to go to every 5 years. I don't know if I'm okay with that and ask them to reconsider based on my concerns. Marguerite said, I was told I don't eat enough food in general for the weight I lift. I was told I should be eating 2,000 calories, especially on the days that I strength train. Yes, yes, yes. Tiffany says, I have a colonoscopy every 5 years due to precancerous polyps. I've had stomach issues since my 20s. So you know you need to get checked frequently, Tiffany. So good for you. When I went and had mine done, he showed me a copy of my intestines, my inside, my colon. And he said, how much water do you drink a day? And I said, a lot. From the time I was born, I just absolutely love water. My colon looked like the inside of a baby's colon. It was crazy. So he said, you come back in 10 years, you're fine, which is good, right? Water drinking can help. Joanne says you can erase the written message, but you cannot erase the achievement. Speaking about the African American Smithsonian, that's good. Tamara says American values, please define because. Alexandra says someone needs to tell the president, I'm not reading what you wrote, that George Bush pushed Congress to fund the museum. If you want to see what she wrote, go take a look. All right, so let me pull up some other news for you. It's always something, always something. Let's see what else is in the news today. 104-year-old mainline college to merge with Villanova University. The college is emerging, y'all. They can't afford. You heard Dr. Randall Pinkett say this on Monday, that businesses are going to have to merge if they want to thrive and survive out here. It's not easy. Get you your Chamber of Commerce, sit down at the table, have the conversations. Villanova University is acquiring yet another mainline institution, this time striking a merger agreement with 104-year-old Rosemont College. The agreement will mark another closure among Philadelphia area colleges. The merger will take place in phases over multiple years, with Rosemont continuing to operate in its current form as a separate entity until 2027, when the two schools will begin to merge. Rosemont students who have not completed their degrees by 2028 will then have the ability to transfer to Villanova, and the school will take over the neighboring Rosemont campus. So there's that. So that's happening. They're merging. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh boy. So Kirsten Zolfo wrote this for the Beacon 2 days ago. She says, why you need to go to Philadelphia on April 5th for the hands-off protests. I'm going to read this to you. Do with this as you may. Rosemont College. Yep. Lania says Rosemont College was small. It was a matter of time after Cabrini closed. Okay. Why you need to go to Philadelphia on April 5th for the hands-off protest. Let's all admit it. What we have seen in these past 9 weeks is worse than we expected. I'll confess to that. Having seen the first Trump administration, I was prepared for a shambolic mess of conflicting executive orders, legal incompetence, and extreme kleptocracy. We may be seeing a lot of that, but we're also seeing a Trump administration that is moving quickly to dismantle programs that Americans rely upon as they take steps to cow opposition in the business, legal, and educational sectors. They are moving fast and breaking things on a massive scale. Again, this was written by Kirsten Zolfo. We don't have time to stand up for the America that we love. In the past 9 weeks, Donald Trump has launched an unprecedented power grab. His on and off tariff oscillations are driving up prices. He is slashing funding for essential programs while the Republican run Congress twiddles its fingers, and he is creating instability at every turn, enabled by Elon Musk and all those complacent Republicans in Congress. His corrupt agenda is making life harder for everyday Americans while eroding our democracy. We cannot afford to wait any longer to fight back. Over 100 national organizations are joining together to plan a mass mobilization of peaceful protests on April 5th for the hands-off rallies in big cities around the country. From massive and long-running behemoths like the League of Women Voters and Service Employees International Union to the young and scrappy groups like the newly formed 5051, from issue advocacy groups like Social Security Works, League of Conservation Voters, and Planned Parenthood, to groups like Women's March and Indivisible that formed in the wake of Trump's first election. All of these organizations are gathering together to stage massive demonstrations in cities around the country. And for you to make the most impact with your presence, we need you to head into the nearest large market metro area to participate. Hey. Let's see. Why are they taking? Why they want him to be in Philadelphia though? She's not saying it's taking. It's a long thing. Oh, she says, I hope you will make time in your busy life to plan the trip to Philadelphia for the Hands Off rally there on April 5th. And I hope you will talk some of the people in your social justice circle to join you. You have the chance to make a huge impact to build the momentum in this country. I think America is worth fighting for. And the trip to Philadelphia is a cheap price to pay to save our country. Don't you agree? See you there. Why Philadelphia though? She never said. She's never said. I don't see where she said that why we should come to Philadelphia. So Philly, y'all hunker down, people. The people are coming. Let's see what here. Jensen Toussaint wrote this for Vista Today. The Philadelphia region law schools, as well as nationwide, are seeing a surge in applicants this year, driven by increased public attention on the courts during the presidential transition and recent changes to the LSAT exam, writes Isaac for Axios. Some of the reasons for this spike are specific to the region. Last year, Pennsylvania was among the states with the most lawyers, making Philadelphia an ideal place for law school graduates with its mix of corporate and public sector job opportunities. Temple University's Beasley School of Law has received around 2,900 applications for its roughly 220 available spaces this year, an increase of 38% from the previous year. Meanwhile, Drexel's Thomas R. Klein School of Law has received over 2,300 applications, an increase of 42.6% from last year, despite Klein being one of the smaller law schools. At moments like this, we see law and the courts and lawyers on center stage, says Drexel Klein School of Law Dean Daniel Filler. That gets a lot of people thinking. If they want to make an impact in the world, then law is the path. That is a pretty obvious way to do it. Let me read some of your comments here. Yeah. Charmaine says April 5th, 5th, sit your black behind down. As Alexander said, no black pepper in the grits on Sunday. David said, nope. The black folks are going, no, thank you. Absolutely not. Nope, not playing with them. Nope, not getting, nope, I'm getting my hair done. We better not see your brown behind outside. Tamara says, keep your arses away from that. Alexandra says Philadelphia is the city where the country came to be, Independence Hall and original White House, etc. Marguerite says nope, nope, and nope, not going to be able to do it. Well, I think it's safe to say you're not going to see any black people out there, and that's who they want. They want us to come out so they can say we're doing all the things. Let me go back to this. And ooh, all right, all right. Wait, I'll save this for last. Hold on. There's another one. I'm gonna save this one for last. Hold on. Uh, Listen. This was written by, I want to give credit, Madam Nora Bilal G. Morris one day ago. Social media tells black people to stay home on National Day of Action on April 5th. Black folks on social media are warning black Americans not to participate in an upcoming global protest against the Trump administration and Elon Musk. On Saturday, April 5th, thousands of people in the United States and around the world are preparing to protest Trump in what they call Hands Off National Day of Action. According to the Third Act, one of the organizations that helped put together this massive protest said the event is meant to stand up against those who believe they can take whatever they want, or democracy, our future, our rights. So far, more than 600 events have been planned across all 50 states. Events have also been planned in Europe and Canada. Indivisible, another organization helping to mobilize, prompted the protest on Blue Sky, writing, Donald Trump and Elon Musk think this country belongs to them. They're taking everything they can get their hands on and daring the world to stop them. On April 5th, we're taking to the streets nationwide to fight back with a clear message, hands off. Uh, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt pushed back against the protests, saying that they will never work to deter the president from further pushing his agenda. Anyone who thinks protests, lawsuits, and lawfare will deter President Trump must be sleeping under a rock for the past several years, she said in a statement to USA Today. President Trump will not be deterred from delivering on the promises he made to make our federal government more efficient and more accountable to the hardworking American taxpayers across the country who overwhelmingly re-elected him. Black voices on social media took these words to heart and warned black people of the dangers they could face if they participated in the upcoming protest. YouTube channels Twins Hangout Kenya put together a montage video of the warnings from black social media to share the sentiment with other black folks. Stay out of the way, one user in the video say. Do something that will help someone become more progressive in our community. Be more self-sufficient. A young black TikToker also discussed the fear she had for her people who might want to show up and protest. All my black folks, y'all better not be out there trying to rally. Make sure on April 5th that you are at home, at work, and minding your business, reading a book, learning a new skill. Make sure you are not at that rally, she continued. If you show up, it's not going to turn out pretty. It's going to get ugly. It's worth mentioning that some black commentators on the post said they were still protesting no matter what. Do you, boo? And although many are warning black people not to protest in the street, it hasn't stopped them from boycotting in other ways. As News One has previously reported, Target is still having a rough go of it since the company announced in January that it was ending its DEI initiatives, including a 3-year program that focused on building black careers. The decision by Target, which appears to coincide with Trump administration's white nationalist warpath on all things diversity, equity, and inclusion, has resulted in multiple nationwide boycotts that appear to have successfully affected the retail chain's bottom line. Trump's time in office is just beginning, and protests have only just begun as well. Black America has always been a force for resistance, but will it be the same this time around? Well, according to what y'all are saying, it's nope, nope, and briggity nope. Viola says, shredding while I'm listening. David says, we recognize this moment is important, which is why we will be at home. And Tamara says, and let David see my peppered behind out in them streets. Not. Uh, 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 Laura says, tell your black men and boys not to protest. So I was watching a video of a sister. Her name was Tamara. Her dearest friend died suddenly. And in 2020, she did a whole piece on why all of it is necessary. She said there's some people who know how to protest by going out into the streets. Some people all of us can protest by, not using our coins. She said, but everything that we have gotten, and you can see that DEI is on the agenda, that, they're making it sound like black folks, are the problem that's causing all the issues in America. And so she said, it's working. People are just either she says she's not mad at people who are protesting outside, but she's also not mad at people who are choosing to not spend their money versus protesting. Melissa says, while they're at that march, you should be at the market to stock up. Amen. Alexandra says, I'm cleaning my house on Saturday. Marguerite says, that part, Melissa. Shakira says, these protests took too long for me. These folks ain't start protesting until it affected them. He took black civil rights his first week in office, and these folks ain't said nothing. Now that they lost their jobs, their rights affecting the education of their children, now they want to protest. Marguerite says, Auntie, many of our black men and boys won't go out there unless we are in them. We must stay out of it. Okay, so it's 7:21. Let me do a couple more, because these two are funny. I just need you all to let me come back here so we can talk about this. Oh, baby, baby, baby. All right. Your brother Umar Johnson. Speaking of black people, I had to end it this way. Umar Johnson admits he will not walk his daughter down the aisle if she marries a woman. Jamal Osborne wrote this for Hollywood Unlocked. Dr. Umar Johnson is trending again, and this time it's for comments that struck a nerve with the internet. In a video making rounds online, the Pan-Africanist and school psychologist admitted he will not walk down the aisle if she chooses to marry a woman. This moment comes on the heel of a very public dispute between Dr. Umar and the mother of his second daughter, whom he calls Miss Vegan. Just last week, Umar hopped on Instagram Live to air out frustrations. He claimed that although he has been present in court and keeping up with child support payments, Miss Vegan is still keeping his daughter away from him. In the next video, he laid his truth bare, explaining why he would not support a same-sex marriage involving his daughter, whom he affectionately referred to as Baby Smurf. Baby Smurf, if you're marrying a man that I approve of, I will walk down the aisle if you would like. I understand that you have been drafted into the Rainbow Army. I don't agree with that at all, but I love you as my child, and it will not affect our relationship, but do not ever ask me to co-sign or support something I am vehemently against. I will not walk you down the aisle if you marry a woman. Can I say this, Brother Umar? That right there was for you to keep at home. That wasn't for all of us. I understand wanting to trend and, doing all the things that you're doing as your Pan-Africanist, but, all right, we're going to leave that alone. The last thing I'm going to read for you today is this. Chandi G wrote this 2 days ago. Children who spend time with grandparents are happier and more secure, studies reveal. If you were fortunate enough to grow up with your grandparents, those moments likely hold a special place in your heart. What you may not have realized is that their influence was shaping you into a more secure and emotionally balanced adult. Whether it's guiding children through tough experiences like bullying or divorce, or simply offering an extra layer of love and support, grandparents have a profound impact on a child's overall well-being. Now, science has stepped in to confirm what many long suspected. I absolutely agree. My oldest son, both of my children. So when my children were born, my mother would leave her home, leave my father and anybody else who was home, and come and spend 8 weeks with me so that she could get to know my children. She'd have her hand on them at birth, for 8 weeks. And then she took my oldest son. My father came and took my oldest son because I had Graves' disease and was going into congestive heart failure. And so they kept my oldest son for a year in Jamaica. And let me tell you something, she spoiled him so much. He would come and climb on her and lay on her belly and fall asleep and pee all over her. He would ask her to make him soup or porridge or whatever it is. She would make it and he would change his mind and ask for something else. He wanted kicking. She hired our nanny to come back to the house to cook for him and make sure he had all the things. I mean, he loves my mother. And so as he grew, and they would get in trouble with me, they would pick up the phone and call her, "Grandma, mommy is doing XYZ, XYZ." And he would sit in the background and cackle like Precious Papa. She's lacing into me. "Leave my grandson alone. You were worse than this when you were a child." Da 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 da. When my mother got sick, and was in the hospital, my son left. I talked to his wife and said, "This woman means everything to me. She is next to my mother. She is everything." And so their babies were maybe 4 or 5 months old, maybe 7 or 8, when he came to see my mother. Flew in, he and his brother, my other son, they flew in to see her. And my youngest son said when they left the hospital and I dropped them off at the hotel, he was inconsolable. Grandparents are amazing. I promise you. When I went to go see Copy, Paste, and Repeat on Sunday, my son opened the door and said, "Look who's here." And Paste, she was on her tricycle. And she looked at me and she smiled and she just kind of got off and put her hands up, and she did not. I could not leave her for the rest of the day. Her brother was upset because she was taking all my time. He threw a natural fit. And when she walked away to go eat some yogurt, he came over and just climbed up on me and just laid and looked like, "All right, Grandma." And that's because when they were born, I spent 8 weeks with them. When their sister was born, I spent 6 weeks because my husband was sick and had to go have surgery. And I am there almost every single week. So grandparents matter. They absolutely do. And I'm grateful. I didn't have any grandparents. My grandparents had died. I had one. He was 10 when I died, my mother's father. But, it's a lot, yeah, yeah, it's a lot. But just know that grandparents are important. David says Africans have allowed women to marry women historically for over 3,000 years. Okay. Uh, Laverne says, "My brother-in-law received a new kidney and is doing well. My close friend is doing dialysis at home and working on my husband to stay off of it." Absolutely. Rosalind says, "I was born to be a mom. Yes, you were, my darling." So Dennis says, "I can't make it." Locked Down by Marvin Sapp and the Ushers. You are so crazy. You are so crazy. Oh, Tamara says, "Oh, mother, I suffer." Yes, I love my grandma, says Melissa. Tamara says, "I suffer with Graves." Okay, we'll talk offline, Tamara. The worst, I am better now, but what is a very difficult journey. Before I got Graves' disease, I weighed 145 pounds soaking wet, like 145 pounds soaking wet. One of the things that happened when they did the surgery, um, I had to have my thyroid taken out, you know couldn't sing for years after that, lost my voice, completely for years. Just that kind of stuff was going on. And I gained about 60 pounds. The Andrea you see now is the Andrea as a direct result of, having had my thyroid taken out. And they had to take out my parathyroids too because it was so diseased. But here I am, right? Here I stand. All right, I gotta go. I gotta get to this funeral. I love you all. Thank you for joining me. Tomorrow is Love is Thursday. And baby, do I have an article that I want to share with all of you. It's going to be good. I love you all so much. In the Igbo, Nigeria, among the Igbo people, a woman without a male hair could take a female husband. That's from David Alexander Jenkins. Listen, this episode of Mornings with Mother is officially over. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Stay out them streets, y'all. Bye, everybody. Bye, darlings. Bye-bye. Bye, sweetie.